How's it going, everyone? This is Adam from Slurv, Ship My Money on DraftKings, and I'll be breaking down today's pitching slate for you for Thursday, June 9th. It's a really ugly slate of pitchers today, so it's kind of just, in my opinion, finding guys who you think are not going to be as bad as other guys. So, if you're going to play cash today, I just really want to go with the guys that I think are going to be the most popular. Since there's no one really safe on the board, I would just rather not get burned if the guy that I play has a bad game, since I think it's likely that pretty much any pitcher on the slate has a bad game. So on DraftKings, there are three pitchers that I'm interested in cash games. Gio Gonzalez at 8,900 against the White Sox. He's not a guy that I usually like to target, but it's just I think he's less likely to get blown up than other people today. The White Sox have a 100 WRC plus against left-handed pitching so far this season. They strike out about 21% of the time, and it's just a spot where, since Gio has lowered his walks this season as well, I just expect him to be one of the safer options on the board. Nate Karns, I think, will be the most popular. He's facing the Indians. He is a reverse splits pitcher, and most of the Indians' best hitters are lefties. So I expect Karns to have a good game. He also matches up pretty well with most of the Indians as far as pitch selection goes. So I think he'll be really popular, but I like his floor and think he has a decent ceiling in this game at 7,900 on DraftKings. And if you wanted to pay down for your second pitcher to be able to afford more bats, then I like Marcus Stroman at 5,700. There's a lot of risk with him. He has had some bad games this year, but lately I think you can attribute his struggles more to having back-to-back games with the Red Sox than to not being a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher, but 5,700 is too cheap for him. Vegas likes him today. The Orioles only projected to score 3.8 or 3.9 runs. And so he's someone where in cash games, if I'm paying down at pitcher, I wouldn't mind going. On FanDuel, I'm going to just play Nate Karns, since you only have to play the one pitcher. He's priced at 8,200, and I do think he's the best option today, so that's where I'm going to go in cash on FanDuel. For GPPs, Karns is in play for me. The issue is just, I think he is definitely the best play today, but he's not a lock to have a good game. He has somewhat limited upside because he usually isn't allowed to throw 100 pitches. And, the Indians can hit. And when you figure he's going to be very, very highly owned, you can definitely make an argument to just not play him and hope for the best. But I do think if your lineup is going to be contrarian in other ways, that I like playing Karns today, just because I think he is the best option on the board. Moving away from Karns, Josh Tomlin in that game is interesting to me. He is also a reverse splits pitcher, and most of the Mariners hitters are lefties. He also gets to pitch in the nice ballpark in Seattle. So, and he won't be anywhere nearly as highly owned as Karns is, but I think he does have similar upside, even though the matchup isn't quite as good. Bartolo Colon is interesting to me. He's a guy that I almost never play, but he's facing the Brewers, and one key, I think, to having good games against the Brewers is to pound the strike zone early, because the Brewers don't swing often, and when they do swing, they swing and miss. So I think a key to facing the Brewers is to get ahead in the count so that they're swinging and missing at the pitches that you want to throw and not at your 2-0 fastball right down the middle that they can handle. The concern with Colon is that theory works when the 0-1, 0-2 pitches are going to be breaking pitches out of the zone. Colon just throws fastballs, and the Brewers can hit fastballs for the most part, but Colon's command of his fastball just kind of makes him an oddity. You can't just say, the Brewers hit fastballs, they'll tear up Colon. He generally locates his fastball so well that you can't just look at stats and lump them onto him. So I do like him today because I expect him to be ahead in the count, and it's always a good place for a pitcher to be. Marcus Stroman's in play for me in GPPs as well. I think he'll be probably the most popular of the cheap options just because of the Vegas line. But I think that outside of Karns, ownership will be spread out enough that he's not going to be so popular that I don't want him. And he's got a risky matchup with the Orioles, but nobody's in a great spot today, and he's just priced too low for his talent level. And on top of that, he is an extreme ground ball pitcher, so I would expect him to be able to at least kind of limit the damage. Miguel Gonzalez is interesting to me facing the Nats. I'm probably the only person who is interested in him today, but his plate discipline numbers are actually good this season. And on a slate where really everybody has huge red flags, I'm interested in Gonzalez going against the Nats. And then finally, I'm interested in Ivan Nova going against the Angels. He's an extreme ground ball pitcher as well, and the Angels do tend to struggle with curveballs, which he throws a lot of. He's, again, not someone that I feel super safe with, but especially on DraftKings where he's 5,300, I think that's just too low for him. For GPPs on FanDuel, I probably will just go with either Gonzalez, Gio Gonzalez, or Carnes. On the all-day slate, Gio Gonzalez was really low owned, but Carnes wasn't that high either. So I think on FanDuel it would be getting a little bit too cute to go with like any of the other options when those two I think are clearly the safest on the board. But on DraftKings where you need the second starting pitcher, I definitely don't mind differentiating with the second starting pitcher just because everybody carries so much risk today. So that's what I'm thinking for right now. Stop into the Slurve chat throughout the day. I'll have more thoughts as lineups come out and I do some more research on these not very good pitchers. Good luck tonight, guys.